So I've been getting some requests on how to do DTF transfers on hats. Now, in my opinion, I think this is one of the coolest transfers to do on hats, period. And the ability to do full color transfers that are just kind of unlimited, gradients, fades, is just remarkable, because there's no limit to what you can't do, not only for your brand or for just businesses in general. You can really give your client a next level experience when it comes to quality and when it comes to the way you can design their logos. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be practicing on a hat. Now, of course, anytime you guys have an opportunity to buy maybe discontinued hats or hats that are on sale for a buck or less, grab as many as you can, because it's good to practice on these hats when you're doing different styles of transfers, so that you can kind of lock in what you're doing and you know it's right, and that's based on the cheap hats that you bought, so you're not ruining your more expensive hats that cost, you know, anywhere from, you know, $3 to $10. So here are my settings for the Supreme Color DTF transfers. We're doing 280 on the top and 150 on the bottom. Now, when you're doing transfers like these, you don't need a lot of heat on the bottom. These are meant to be hit from the top, just like if you were heat pressing them. But I like to keep a nice little warm temperature on the bottom, because it kind of helps the hat conform to the platen. So that's what we're doing here. So first timer, I have 7 seconds. That's our preheat. That's going to kind of help mold the hat to the platen. And then typically when you're heat pressing these transfers, like you've seen in my other videos, these DTF transfers only require about 25 seconds. So in this case, we are using the silicone pads. So we're going to double that to about 50 seconds, okay? Now, what I would recommend doing is give your silicone a little bit of a heat up. That way you don't have any issues right off the bat with the first hat. Just kind of warming it up a bit kind of helps. And that's all you got to do there. Third timer. Third timer is our post press, so that's what's really going to ingrain the design into the hat after we have peeled it, okay? So again, 7 seconds, 50 seconds, and then about 20 to 25 seconds is all we need on the post press. If I didn't say that the first time, that's what I meant. 20 to 25 seconds. We'll see what we got here. Yeah, we got 25 seconds here on our post press. Now, what's the difference between pre and post? Pre is before the main press. Post is after the main press, okay? So when you hear those terms, pre and post press, that's exactly what that means. Typically, your post press is the final press that really finishes off the transfers. It kind of adheres that glue really well and kind of dissolves any edges, you know, that the transfer might have. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Here is our hat. Go ahead and flip out the padding under the bill, and what we want to do is just get this on there like so. You have this little lip here. It's kind of where you want to follow that. So you usually see underneath, like, you know, this lip right here, that's kind of where I line that up. So get that lip in there, hold it down, pull. Okay, now this is the most critical part of doing anything on the 360 IQ, is making sure that your hat is really on the platen. So you see how we have a little bit of play here? I can simply, you know, make sure if I do this just a little bit, it kind of warms up the hat a little bit. Now look, I don't have as much play, right? So we want to just make sure that this is really heated and conformed to the platen. So what we're going to do real quick is that first 7-second warm up. Now you don't have to lock the heat press down. You're simply warming it up, and that is it. So that's our warm up. Now it's really on there. Now you don't see any play. Do you see any movement really on the hat? Not at all. So that's what you want, guys. You want very minimal play in the hat. Now, of course, always make sure you're using a lint brush. That way you get all the fuzz or whatever lint is on there off. We're going to be working with this transfer today, so I'm going to trim this up just a little bit. What I like to do, guys, is when I'm actually decorating stuff, of course you always have chest logos, right? So what I always like to do is typically try to make my chest logos as big as my hats. That way I can use both designs on my hats as well. Yeah, this one might be a little big, but okay, I can get it right there. So I can get it right here. So if we hold this down a bit, it will kind of adhere. That glue will start melting just a little bit, enough to hold it in place. And then all you got to do, guys, grab your bill protector, just like so. Now this protects the front bill. And then we have this one here. This goes right over the top, nice and easy. Okay. Now remember, we got about a 7 to an 8 on the pressure here. So we're going to go ahead and lock that down. And now we're just waiting for 50 seconds to go by and see how it looks, guys. So keep in mind, right now is my first time doing a DTF transfer. So what you're seeing here is exactly what I'm seeing for the very first time. So I'm kind of guessing to see if this is going to work at the 280. Typically these, go down at about 260, but I ramped it up to 280 because we are in a heat press and I really want to get that down. So good to go. All right, guys. Oh yeah, that looks really good. You see that here, guys? So this whole thing looks really adhered. You can see a lot of detail in that. So what we're gonna do, because these are cold peel, so there's that right there. So we're just gonna let this cool down a little bit, and then we're gonna get to peeling and then do our post press. All right, typically these only require about 15 seconds or so. Then you can peel them. I typically like to wait about, I don't know, a minute or so, but I got a little fan over here that I use, and that does very well for being able to take care of this stuff. So now we're gonna go ahead and peel. We're gonna grab this corner and we're simply gonna give it a peel. That looks absolutely amazing, guys. So that came out really good. Now we're gonna do our post press. Everything feels really adhered, nice and complete. So now we're gonna go ahead and finish this off. Again, put it back down, fit it, and we're gonna protect our bill once again. And we're gonna use our thinner. So I have a thinner one here that I use just for finishing off these designs. It gives it just a little bit more heat just to kind of dissolve it. So once you guys kind of get into a rhythm of things, you'll be able to easily just take these hats, put them aside, put them aside, put them aside, and just do the post press as your very last thing. That way you don't have to really worry too much about all three stages. So you can do your pre and your main, set them aside, let those transfers just kind of cool off, and then just peel them, and then come over here and hit them all one at a time on the post press. Now that looks really, really good, guys. That came out very well, very nice. As you can see, the detail is just off the chain. So on this hat right here, we've got a total of about 5 colors, guys. So this is very hard to get 5 colors on screen printing, but with DTF transfers, I've got 5 full, vibrant RGB style colors in here that work great for this transfer. Now with Supreme Color transfers, you can actually submit your files in CMYK or RGB mode. So I definitely encourage you guys, if you're interested in DTF transfers, look up supremescreensupply.com for all of your wholesale DTF transfer needs. Now again, I say wholesale because they are a wholesale printing company that offers wholesale to actual wholesale licensed businesses like yourself. So if you are in the industry and have a wholesale license, good for you. You'll have the opportunity to be able to order transfers like these as low as about 25 cents, maybe even less. So hopefully this helped you guys out today, understanding a little bit more about DTF transfers and how they work with the 360 IQ. Those are my settings. They should be very common for whatever company you're using for your DTF transfers. Some require higher temperatures, so in this case these settings would probably work. All you'd have to do is kick up the top heat and you should be good to go. If you have any questions, post in the comments. If you have any hats or work that you might want done by myself, go ahead and feel free to reach out to me via email. All my info is in the description. So now that I've locked this in, guys, and these settings are good to go, now I can finally get down on the client's hats. So here we go. Maybe I'll pop them on the website. Maybe by the end of this video, they'll already be uploaded. So, until the next video, guys, my name is James. Peace out. Now that I've perfected the technique, now it's time to go work on these hats. Now it's time to